What's up, guys? The story behind everything here. Today we'll be talking about Samsung. Samsung is a worldwide conglomerate company, which its main company is technology. It also has a military group, shipping transit group, and it has their own clothesline in Korea. Samsung originated in Daegu, South Korea, March 1st, 1938, 78 years ago. Their headquarters is in Suwon, South Korea, and they have their own town called Samsung Town in Seoul. Their products are apparel, chemicals, consumer electronics, electronic components, medical equipment, semiconductors, ships, and telecommunications equipment. Samsung has been around for a very long time, since 1938. They have employed 489,000 people since 2014, so that's their employee rate. So a quick fact about Samsung is that the word Samsung in Korean means tri-star or 3 stars. The word 3-star represents something big, numerous, and powerful in the Korean language. Also about the Samsung logo, the opening on the S and the G means that they're open to new ideas all times. So if the technology is moving forward, they'll always be moving forward, and they'll never stop at one point. They'll always keep moving forward with their technology. So the beginning of Samsung was a very busy time in their history. Samsung in 1938 started as a small trading company in South Korea. As they got more developed, they started developing TVs, microwaves, appliances, all different kinds of electronic devices as computers in the 80s and 90s. So in the beginning, they had a bunch of different groups, and they all came together to make a conglomerate company, which means more than one group combined, and they each owned a share of the company. Samsung entered the electronics industry in the 1960s. It formed several electronics-related divisions, such as Samsung Electronics, which is the phones and all the electronic devices, Samsung Electromechanics, Samsung Corning, and Samsung Semiconductor Telecommunications, and made the facility in Suwon. So Suwon's a town in Korea, is where their headquarters is right now. And like I said before, the first product in their technology division was a black and white television set. So in the 1980s, Samsung acquired a telecommunications company, and they started in the telecommunications hardware department. At first, they were creating switchboards, and then they focused on telephone and fax machines and became Samsung Mobile Phone Manufacturing. They produced over 800 million mobile phones to date. The company grouped together under Samsung Electronics in the 1980s. So as you know with all companies, they need research and development to be successful. So in the 1980s, Samsung began to invest heavily in research and development so they can get out in the electronics business and be in the front. They have assembly plants all over the world, such as Portugal, New York, Tokyo, England, and Austin, Texas. So in 1982, Samsung released their first personal computer, but only in the Korea market. It used an audio cassette tape to save and load data. A floppy disk drive was optional, and as you think back in times, having a floppy disk drive is optional is very weird because some people don't even know about floppy disks, even though they were used to store data. They usually maxed out around a half a gigabyte, which was nothing for back then, and even lower than that. And using cassette tape to load and save data is just unheard of in these times. But having it in the only Korea market was very hard for them because they couldn't sell it in other countries. They just didn't have the support and strength because it was a new market, computers, and they used bad monitors, and it's just funny to look back on all that today. So in the early 1990s, Samsung became an international corporation. They were able to sell all around the world and in every country, and they've been growing in sales ever since. So as Samsung grew as a corporation and was able to sell internationally, Samsung was the leading producer in memory chips and SD cards in 1992. So Samsung, as you know today, was a totally different company in the 90s. They had their own motor business, military, shipping business, and also their telecommunications business and technology business, which they still have today, but most people do not know about. So Samsung, as you know today, started around 1995 to now. They started making mobile cell phones, which had cameras, which is revolutionary back then. And when they had cameras on the phone, people could take it around with them, not have to bring around their SLRs and film, and they could just use their phone as a camera. As you know, it probably wasn't a good camera, like maybe 1 megapixel or less than that, but it still worked for the job. So as Samsung grew as a company, they started making better phones, which had better reception, better antennas, and more quality products. And Samsung's Galaxy line started with the Samsung Galaxy S, which was a great phone, all plastic design, but it had an 8 megapixel camera and Android software running on it, and the interface was slow, and it wasn't as good as Apple back then with the iPhone. And Samsung had a lot of ground to make up because they started pretty late in the smartphone industry. Samsung made a big step in the smartphone industry in 2011 when they released the Samsung Galaxy Note. This was unheard of in the industry because it was the size of a tablet at around 5.7 inches, and it also had a Note Pen as a stylus to use on the screen, which had air view, air gestures, and all different types of things you can use on S Note, which was a revolutionary idea back in the day of the Note beginning. Because iPhones and the other Samsung phones, HTC, Android, Motorola, they all didn't have the stylus, and they had a great idea of putting a stylus in the phone because you can just pull it out, write notes down, and it was great for people who worked in the business. So Samsung took a big step in 2015 when they released the Samsung Galaxy S6 because they were going with premium quality over storage and battery capability. They released the Samsung Galaxy S6 on April 10th, 2015. So Samsung made a rebound in 2016 when they released the Samsung Galaxy S7. It had a removable SD card slot along with a SIM card, which was able to expand the storage with the microSD function. You're able to expand it to 128 gigabytes, which really helped because you have to pay more if you want a higher gigabyte on a phone. With the Samsung Galaxy S6, if you wanted 64 gigabytes, you had to pay $100 more, and so on with the gigabyte prices. So to wrap it up, Samsung is a huge company around the world with the military, the shipping business, the trading, and technology business. So if you like this video, stay tuned for another one. You learned today, hope you learned the next video. I'll be coming out with more videos every Monday and Thursday. So don't forget to subscribe to my other channel, Tech Knows, which I have a bunch of tech videos on Samsung products, which I just talked about in the video today. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Stay tuned for the next video. Like, subscribe. The story behind everything out.